Okay, that was interesting.
Hey, everybody.
See?
Yeah, everybody, welcome to the ECBRO Discovery News Blogcast. Tonight, we are going to have Doreen Fisher. She's working her way in here right now as we speak. Just bear with her. She's working on it. She's trying to get in here. And it should be pretty interesting. We had her scheduled for, was it last weekend we had her scheduled, and I know I had technical difficulties on my end, and I almost had issues tonight, but so far so good. If anyone hears me disappear between Fred, Corey, Glenn, they're going to take over for me till I get back in if anything happens. So let's hope that does not happen.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, yeah, go ahead. Well, what's up, Fred?
Okay, pretty good. Her name is Doriane. Dorraine.
Yeah, and I just got to have it pronounce it Doreen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
she, what I know about her, like you told me, you know, she's good at what she does. I'm learning more about her every day and everything, and I hope we're going to have a good conversation this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a real nice lady, real sweetheart. And so meanwhile, viewers, keep in mind, like I said, for anyone just jumping in now, I just stated that Doreen she is working her way in here. She's working on it. Let me check my messages because I know she said she's waiting for a plugin to download. So been there, done that myself before. I know how that goes. So meanwhile, while we're waiting on Miss Fisher, Fred, let me ask you anything while we're waiting on Miss Fisher. Have you you been out today as far as the woods or anything?
No, it's a little too windy for me, but I've been out last couple days, and I've had some very interesting stuff. I set my auto recorder out, and about 2 minutes after I left it sitting there, I got sounded like a couple of them coming down out of the woods, and they come up to it, they pecked on it, they got down there and started sniffing it, and then I hurt and everything, and I'm not sure talking, not sure though, but you know I gotta have that checked out. Found some new, you know, I found some good structures, you know, and I found some good tracks. Found some good 7-inch tracks, you know, that was pretty heavy into the. I've noticed one thing when I was going down that last trail on the far corner of the apple orchard, going down toward the wooded area. All the steps that the squatches were taking was on the side of the trail in the leaves. They would not walk on that trail, but they would walk in the leaves right next to it, right there between the trail and the woods. You know, they walk this leafy area where, you know, where your leaves fall down on each side of the trail. They would walk down that way, and you could see where they go straight into the woods. And the trail, but they didn't touch the trail. They would, you know, in it or on it, so you could see where they would jump from one side to the other, which ain't but about 2 foot, you know, something like that.
Huh.
But they're teaching me how they're starting to do things, you know, because like I said, I do my searches in grids, grid 1, grid 2, but some bad news that happened yesterday at the very
Uh-oh.
top of my research area was a forest fire.
Fire. Yep, I heard about that. I was like, yeah, it's in the
It
St. Mary's Wilderness.
it starts at the parking lot at the top of Bald Mountain where we come out from trail riding. It started
Right.
right there, and it went up toward the into St. Mary's. Now St. Mary's
Yeah,
is
it was. It
yeah
had
St.
been.
Mar- yeah St. Mary's is you can camp up there, but you're not allowed to have a fire. That's the only difference about St. Mary's. And you camp right along the river or the stream. But in the last couple of years, it used to be you could follow one trail and go straight up to the waterfalls. Now the trail kind of gets to a certain point and kind of cuts in, and then you got where the river kind of it was a hollow. It used to be a hollow. It's now the little twist or whatever come through there and washed it completely out, and now it's a second stream coming in. I don't know where it's coming in from, but it's meets with St. Mary's. But you got to go like a half mile out of the way to get up to the falls now. And
Right.
that's that they hit that the fire's in. So I'm thinking about riding up there tomorrow. I talked to some people with the roads blocked going up toward the Parkway, and about a mile before you get to the end of the coal roads, which would be on the private property part, because you can come in about a mile and you got a gate which starts the National Forest coal roads, but anything before that on the St. Mary's side is private property, and you got houses all through all the way up to the very end of where you take a right to go to St. Mary's. They had that blocked off. They had, see, 1, 2, 3. They had 4 ways up in the St. Mary's blocked off from the fire department. They had like 4 fire departments up there: the Forestry Service, Waynesboro Fire Department, not Comore, but Fishersville, Augusta County, Dooms Crossroads. They had all of them up in there. So I ain't heard nothing about it today.
Yeah, I just want to give you a heads up, update for those viewing, waiting to see and hear Mr. Rain Fisher. Like I said, she's installing a plugin for her computer. She's never been on a YouTube Google Plus Hangout here, so it's new for her system. So she's installing the plugin, and she says it's just verifying installation. She's just trying to click back, and it's still slow. So her system's still working. Sometimes it usually takes 2 to 3 minutes. Sometimes it takes longer.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just let's bear. What? What's that, Fred? I can't hear you. Okay.
Yeah, she's driving it, dog.
All right. Anyway, Corey, what's new with you while we're waiting?
Okay. I'm sorry, calling what you were saying.
Not really much. Spring is here. I have my eye on a few different spots.
Right.
Some of my local areas.
Okay, cool. 'Cause I'm doing a podcast show right now live.
And we'll see.
A podcast show. I'm on the internet doing a live podcast all over the world.
Yeah. I had to mute Fred. He's on the phone talking. This reminds me. Have you seen the new video link of? It's called Bigfoot. It's supposed to be starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's the whole thing's fake, isn't it?
Right. Craig Woolheat or whatever his name is was sharing it around, and I looked when I clicked on the link. I looked at it and I saw a comment underneath, and I was like, why would this person say this is fake and been done with a drone? So I looked into something, and then I kept looking around. Then I saw some other link from like some news link, and it's the guy named Seth Williams, I think. He goes by a different name too. And then it was apparently the guy makes fake videos, fake movie promos and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, he used his drone to make a fake movie, which even showed different cast member, I was like, oh man, this sounds like it's gonna be a good movie. I ain't gonna lie, I fell for it there for until I saw that it was fake myself. Because I know Paul Hayes. I first saw it through Paul Hayes. I was like, hey, this is awesome. But it was a little bit a disappointment. I mean, I love hearing about Bigfoot movies. So. But like I said, I fell for it too. Because I started to share as soon as I saw it, I shared it too. I was like, man, guys, check this out. But then I was like, as soon as I found it was fake, I started to make sure I reshared it.
Yeah, but if it's got Leo DiCaprio in it, because DiCaprio is a very, very critical when it comes to Bigfoot.
Yeah. I mean, he just got done doing that movie, which has been in theaters already for about a month or two now, the Reverend.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good movie. Yeah.
It's excellent.
So, I definitely want to check that out. But yeah, for him to do something like, if he was to do a Bigfoot movie, I think he would, I've seen that he's been in these recent movies, in the wilderness kind of movies, I think it would be pretty good. But
well, wonder when David Kane's going to do one, since he was on the with that bounty thing with Sager Nagel and Smeha. I mean, not Smeha, but whatever that show was.
Richard,
yeah,
the $10 million Bigfoot bounty. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder.
Dean Cain.
Dean Cain. Yeah, I wonder if Dean Cain's going to have a documentary on his search for Bigfoot, because I know he believes in him.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he was to show up on like some movie on like the Sci-Fi Channel. Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Bigfoot's kind of, it lends itself to this outrageous kind of media and and ridiculousness, which is kind of unfortunate. But most of the stuff that they do on TV it's not something you can really take seriously.
Believe in.
Right.
And take seriously, because they're like, oh, Bigfoot's a big thing now. It's hot. Let's make a Bigfoot movie and we'll sell some, we'll sell some commercial time.
Yeah.
Doreen messaged me again. She said she's still waiting. Yeah. Man, plugins. I haven't had to do a plug. I didn't think they took that long. But yeah. Oh well, she's trying.
Yeah, that was my sister-in-law who called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I only muted you because I think I was talking and at first I was wondering who you were talking to. I was like, huh?
Yeah, it's my pesty sister-in-law.
Well, the question I'm going to ask, I mean, I don't know if I should get into this now, I guess you could say the beginning of the show, but
what's up?
One of the questions I was going to ask Doreen is, do you think that the proliferation of Bigfoot media, TV shows, movies, that sort of thing, now that we're talking about movies, do you think it's helped or hurt the Bigfoot community, the search for Bigfoot? What do you guys think?
Oh, before I get into that, Doreen just messaged. I guess she was listening. While she's waiting for her plug-in, she must have been listening, because she told me to tell Fred that the name. Where is Fred there? I don't see him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, okay. Doreen told me to tell you her name is. She broke it down in syllables. Doreen.
Oh, Doreen. I said Doreen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad, honey. My bad. I apologize.
Apparently she's watching, listening right now while she's waiting on her thing to go through.
Oh, mercy.
But yeah, she said LOL afterwards. So yeah, she's cool about it. She's just picking on you, I guess. But
yeah. I wish she could come. I wish she could come on and let us see her.
Well, yeah. Well, she said it's okay, Fred. But no, she has a regular desktop. She's not on a laptop. Her desktop doesn't have a camera. So
have a camera.
So basically, I think we're gonna see
Yeah, because when Because when I did my interview, because when I did my interviews with uh, Barbara Shoup and Brenda Harris, and I think one other person, I did it on the phone, but I had the speaker on. And I set the phone down on the computer so that way everybody could hear, you know. So I did my interviews that way.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that one time I had to do that with Tracy one time? The only way I could do it if you,
Yeah, because I remember you had to put your microphone up to it, and I could barely hear what he was saying.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing. That's why people are like, well, do I call in? I said, no, it's not a call-in show. Even though I will eventually set that up, I will do a regular Blog Talk setup, but where we could all participate in it still, you know. But
yeah,
I think,
have y'all ever heard of Vegas Paranormal?
I can't say that I have. It almost sounds familiar.
It's a podcast on paranormal out of Las Vegas, run by Sean Whittington. I'm going to be on there April the 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Hey, Leo. How you doing? We're still waiting on Drain. She's installing a plug-in right now, so we're just waiting. She's still waiting. She messaged me, so she's working on that right now. So, yeah, okay. We're just right now just having,
I went, ran over my friends, and her birthday was St. Patrick's, and I ran over to her house and gave her a beautiful shawl I crocheted for her, and she loved it. So here I'm back home, and here I am.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like somebody's outside. Almost sounds like there's wind blowing in a speaker.
Yeah, she ain't got no headset, so you're gonna hear that.
Oh, okay. No, I thought it sounded like somebody was outside. Like when like Steve was outside the last couple of days, he's like almost sounds like wind blowing into the mic.
Yeah. Well, that's one reason why I didn't.
I turned my volume down a little. Did that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I didn't go out today, because it was windy as heck. So I ended up putting so now I got both sets of fog lights on. I got to figure out how to hook up the second set. I got 2 fuse panels that I use that doesn't run the battery down to a point. So I got the first set running straight to the battery with a fusible link. But I need to get a condenser so I can hook both of them up to one switch. Because the condenser circulates electricity between the 2 lights, between the 2 sets of lights, and it keeps it from draining the battery.
Right.
Everything. But like I said, right now I'm pleading and begging people if I could rent a storage space or a shop bay or something so I can get my motors. I went up to Woodrow Wilson Rehab Center and talked to mechanics up there, and they said their students just does oil changes and tire changes. And I went to Votech, and only time they do cars now is if the cars are if the vehicles are donated to them and everything. Oh, mercy. So she's with Jack Link too, huh?
I guess that's her encounter.
Yeah. Most of the storage buildings around here won't let you do stuff like that because of fire insurance.
Right.
They swear them down, you're going to catch fire. So, you know. So I might have to swallow my pride and kiss my sister's caboose to plead and beg her to let me use her place again.
Yeah. Well, just don't leave oil spots on the concrete.
Now, mainly the antifreeze.
Same thing.
Now, Daniel, where do you come? How do you get stuff like that to put up there? I mean, where do you find it at?
What are you talking about?
Like subscribe to YouTube channel ECBRO98.
Oh, I do that myself. I add that into the picture. You can pick any picture.
I mean, where do you get? How do you bring all this stuff together?
Oh, well, I use my phone to create. I have apps on my phone. I do all that with.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could go through my laptop and use the paintbrush app, the paintbrush app on the computer, and do, if I wanted to do something like that. But I use my phone to do this one.
Oh, okay. Well, while we're live, and we got people on the panel here. I got one question I want to ask everybody, and I'm gonna start from Corey and work my way in. One question.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Let's go ahead and ask some questions. We do got quite a few viewers right now.
Okay. I'm going from left to right, so Corey is first on my list. Corey, what would your first reaction be, hypothetically, if you have a face-to-face encounter like you're fishing on the river and you see a Squatch on the other side? What's your first thought?
My first thought would be, okay, it exists. Cool. I'm glad I get to see one. I think it's a privilege. And I would probably just go on to something else as a hobby.
Okay. Second question. Same person. If you was walking down a trail and you saw one about 20 yards off the trail, would you look at it, wave at it, walk away, or would you try to approach it?
I think I would just watch. I think I would just watch it. If it was something close enough where I knew what I was looking at, I don't think there'd be a reason to approach it.
Okay.
Not that I'm afraid, but like my whole thing is I just want to see one.
Okay.
And if I did, then I would know, okay, they're real. And then again, like I said, I would move on to
Okay, cool.
the hobby. So
Good answer. All right, Daniel. Same
Yes.
question. Same first question.
Okay, could you repeat the question, please?
If you were fishing and you saw a Sasquatch, say like same scenario, on the other side of the river, what's your first thought?
My first thought, or the first words out of my mouth?
First, well, either or.
Well, for one thing, I'll probably be wonderstruck, like really hyperly amazed, but yet maybe, I don't know. I can't say I'll be nervous because I don't know. I have not. I don't know.
You mean you're gonna have the same look as that little redhead boy on Finding Bigfoot when he saw that Squatch out in the yard?
I think my eyes might come out of my head. I mean, I might be excited, like, hey, like when I see a bear real close.
Okay. All right.
But it's hard to say until that moment actually happens. If especially, and the other thing is, I think that would also depend on how close it is.
Okay. Now, second question: if you were walking down a trail, say like back in your area, in my area, hell, let's say even up in Maine or North Carolina or wherever you're at, and you see 120 yards off a trail, would you stop? Well, I know you'd stop, but would you look at it, throw your hand up and walk away, or would you try to approach it?
Well, well, who were you asking me, or I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I got a second question.
Okay. Well, you know what? Depending on how I feel towards, the vibe, I may possibly try to take steps towards it, but with caution, and also my comfort. Yeah.
In other words, you're telling me you got balls of steel.
Well, besides that, I got witnesses on that. But anyway.
Okay.
No, I think there's a possibility. Like I said, right now, speaking about it is one thing, but actually experiencing it is a totally different situation. So until that moment comes, I can't really say. But right now, speaking at a calm manner, right now, like we're doing here, I can only speak what I would feel that I would do. You know what I mean? But
okay. All right. Let's see. Who's the next person on here? Glenn.
Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Wait, I got a real quick question, real quick.
Okay.
Now, you've had guests call in before through your phone. You've done that before, right?
Yeah, but I've had it on speakerphone.
Okay. Did it sound okay with them speaking on it?
Yeah, if you go to Brenda Harris, go to my interviews with Brenda Harris or Barbara Shoup, they sound just as clear. They sound just clear. But I'm using a landline phone too.
Right, your phone would be a lot clearer. If I was to give Doreen your number, would you want to try to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, hold on, wait a minute. She just messaged me. She says she thinks she might have it. Hold on. As far as the plugin might have gone through. So,
okay.
Viewers, stand by. I think Doreen might be coming in now. She might finally have it, everybody.
Cool.
I hope so, because we waited a long time for this, because, like I said, the last time we tried to do this...
Hello, young lady.
Hold on, she's working on it. Hold on.
Oh, thought I heard her say hello.
Yeah, getting her on the show seems to be proving harder than finding.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Well, if nothing else, nothing else, you can call my phone and I can use the speaker part of it.
That's what I'm saying. If it fails, that's what I'm gonna have her do. I'm gonna have her call your number. That's why I wanted to ask you first if you wanted to try that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, while we're waiting, Glenn.
Yeah.
First question. If you were fishing along a riverbank and you saw a Sasquatch on the other side of the river, what would your first thought be?
I don't know. I'd probably think about getting behind something, hiding, watching him. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question. If you were walking down a trail and you happen to see one 20 yards in the woods, would you stop and look at it, or would you try to approach it?
Probably the same thing. I'd probably try to hunker down and get some pictures or video of him.
But would you continue walking on, or would you try to approach it? That's the question.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I'd approach it or not. Probably, I don't know. I'd probably keep going, probably.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Okay, here comes what. Lale. If you saw a Squatch across the pier from you, what would be your first thought?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Okay.
I would be freaked completely out, but at the same time, happy and excited.
Okay. Second question. If you're fishing on the river down the road from you, say like I went down there to check on your crab pots, and you saw you saw one 20 yards up further on the bank, would you look at it and walk away, or would you try to approach it?
I would look at it and walk away. I would not approach it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
If I had a camera on me in either instance, I would try to take a picture or a video or something. But if it was 20 yards away, I think I would just slowly mind my business and wander right on off, because that's pretty close.
Okay. Now.
Hey, hold on, Fred. Put your phone number up in the group chat here so I can type it to her, because it's not working for her to come in.
I see.
Or hey, Fred, or message it, in the group chat. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want it out all where everybody can see it.
Here you go.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna write that down, if you don't mind, Fred.
No, I don't care.
Just
Okay.
in case.
Okay, now, Corey, what do you think would happen if you approached a Squatch or try to approach it, walk toward it? What do you think it might do?
Maybe run off. Yeah, maybe run off. I wouldn't anyways. It's not that I'm afraid, but I would leave them be. I'd be happy just having been able to see one.
Okay. All right, how about you, Daniel?
All right. I'm sorry. I was sending her, Doreen a message.
What do
Repeat
you
one more
think-
time.
What would you think a Squatch would do if you tried to approach it?
Well, I think
All right,
that might be her.
All right, wait a minute.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello, this is Doreen.
Hello, this is Freddie. Okay, now guys, can you hear?
I hear her. Doreen, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
she can hear you.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, I've done one like this before, so this should be pretty interesting. All right. Well, Doreen, welcome. I'm glad we got you on here one way or another.
Thanks.
Okay, did you hear what Daniel says?
No, I did. I was hearing all kinds of other things, but I had YouTube up and I just turned everything off. So.
Okay, yeah, Daniel said it's good to, he said it's good to have, it's good to have you on the air tonight. He's been waiting a long time.
Good to finally be here.
And I think a lot of other people are too, but while we're sitting here warming up here, why don't you tell people about yourself?
Okay, well, that's usually the hardest question for me to answer, but I'll try. I am a writer, and I write for a Bigfoot research team called the Crypto Crew, and we've been around since 2011. And I joined Tom Markham, the founder, shortly after he started it. And we've been working together ever since. I've written articles for him for a long time, and now we're kind of like partners.
Cool. Have you,
And we do it together, and we have other team members that help us out in a lot of different states around the country. And I just started a new radio show for Monster X Radio that's going to be starting in May. It's called Animal Extent. And it'll be about cryptids of all kinds, mainly cryptids that are not Bigfoot. We're going to explore a lot of other things like Tamp, Mokillian Bembe, and Dogman, and Tasmanian Wolf, things like that. So, a little bit. But
oh, that sounds cool.
it'd be fun.
Cool. Let me ask you a question. What's your theory on Dogman?
On Dogman?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an expert on Dogman, but I have a feeling, and from what I'm hearing from other people who do the research, that it may be a type of Bigfoot that has a different appearance, and the name Dogman might be a little extraneous. It might be that Bigfoot has different appearances in different regions, or from some kind of different evolution of some sort for whatever reason. And I'm not saying that, that's the absolute truth, of course. Nobody knows, but it's, just a feeling I get from talking to people.
Oh, cool.
So,
All right.
Okay. I got a couple questions I wanted to throw out there.
I'm here.
Yeah, Doreen. Okay, can you hear me, Doreen?
Yeah, you sound distant, but I can hear you pretty well.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, I'll try to speak a
says
little
she
louder. Yeah, I hear her.
She
I
can
hear what
hear
she's
you.
saying. Yeah, I hear her real loud and clear. Okay. Well, for one thing, One question I want to ask: have you ever had an experience of your own of any kind whatsoever, regardless if it was something you've heard or seen before?
I have had what I believe what we call sometimes a Class B encounter a couple of summers ago, where I was in my area and I had some things thrown at me.
Oh.
I had sticks thrown at me. This was about 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I usually hike early anyway, take my camera with me. It was a trail that I used quite a bit. And on this morning, it was a little bit strange. It was a little bit different. There was eerie quiet in those woods that I was not used to, that I noticed right away. As soon as I got out of my truck, I could hear nothing.
Oh, wow.
And I decided to go ahead and start walking, but as soon as I stepped into the woods, I heard deer running around in circles. But then I heard a crashing noise. This was not your normal stick on stick. This was like a tree hitting a tree. It was a very loud, drumming tree sound that really struck me. And the deer were running around in circles. I could hear them, but I couldn't see them. And it's odd, but I just kept on walking. And to the place where and it's kind of a steep trail down into this canyon, and all this was going on around me, and then finally got quiet. But as soon as I stepped down the step to go down into the canyon, I got vertigo. And I never, ever get vertigo, ever. And it was a strange, strange feeling, so I decided that maybe I wouldn't try to go down a steep canyon at that moment. So I went back up to the top of the hill, and I stood there for a minute trying to get my bearings, and I turned around and I was looking all around me, and I had the weirdest feeling that I have ever had in my life. It was a strange, strange feeling I can't describe. It was almost like electromagnetic energy. I mean, and I have a sensitivity to this kind of thing anyway. But anyway, it just was a weird feeling, like creeped out kind of feeling, to better describe it. Anyway, I looked around, and my first thought was Bigfoot, because we're all in our Bigfoot head all the time, so this is what we're thinking. And I'm looking around. Of course, I don't see anything. But I felt something whiz past my head, and it was a stick. It just whizzed past my ear, just nice, neatly, and landed on the ground behind me. And I thought, okay, that was kind of weird. Of course, stuff falls off of trees all the time in the woods. So I thought, well, that's probably what it was. Well, a second later, another stick whizzed past the other side of my head and landed on the ground behind me, which was kind of odd. You know, they weren't falling down. They were coming at me, going beside my head.
Wow.
So I'm getting really creeped out by then, because I'm wondering what the heck's going on. Well, I decide that I need to get out of there, and I head back up the trail, and all of a sudden I hear a crashing noise again. Really, really loud. Sounded a little bit closer this time. And I started down the trail. I was moving a little faster at this point, thinking I really just needed to leave. And two fawns, ran right up to me. I had turned a little bit. They ran right up to me. Each one of them touched one of my hands.
Oh, wow.
With their noses.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And, okay, one of them went down the hill, down the canyon. The other went straight up the hill. But neither one of them went back the way they came. And the look in their eye, I mean, I was so close to them. The look in their eyes was just terror. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. They just looked scared as could be. And as soon as they ran off, I just still had this weird feeling, and I just had to get out of there. And I drove back home, and I was breathing really hard, thinking, oh my gosh, what the heck was that? And the closer I got to home, the more I thought that I'd had some kind of encounter with them. I can't prove it, of course. I didn't see anything, but at 5:30 in the morning, there are no people out there. That's why I go out there. And it was just not a place where people would be. It's not very easy terrain for them to be standing around waiting for me so they can throw sticks at me. It's just kind of hard to explain, but I feel pretty strongly that I interrupted a deer hunt or something.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I think, and that's the story I'm sticking to right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't prove it or anything.
5:30 in the morning. I mean, of course, that must have been pretty dark then around that time in your area.
Still dark,
right?
yes. And that's when I like to go out. Of course, that's when things happen too. That's I've had other things happen to me in the past. I've had deer running at high speed going right past me through the woods like they've been scared by something. Most of my encounters have been with deer, something strange happening with the deer. And I finally went out in the woods last season and studied the deer a little bit. And I wonder sometimes if deer don't behave the way they do based on who's hunting them out there. And that's another story, but I really am interested in the deer and how they behave.
Yeah. If you notice, when I've noticed in my area, when there's a squatch around, I look at the movement of the deer. I watch their ears and I watch their tail. What they'll do, they'll keep one ear on you, but the other ear
right behind them.
Yeah, and watch that tail. When that tail goes up half mast,
yes,
and drops down about a quarter. Get ready, and they'll, instead of watching you, they'll keep looking behind them.
Right.
Then you know something's wrong.
Certain sounds that they're sensitive to, too. There are some sounds that don't bother them.
Right.
Smaller snapping noises don't bother them, but even my truck door didn't bother them as much as wood on wood sounds, which I thought was interesting. So.
Now, Doreen, we got
observations about them.
Yeah, I got a question on the live chat from one of your very own, Mike Richburg from Monster X Radio.
Hi,
yeah, he's asking. He says, do you think that the vertigo was by a product of infrasound or other unusual effects?
I've thought about that over and over and over again, and I honestly do not know, but I will say this, it was the weirdest feeling I've ever had in my life. I've always been highly sensitive to energy, and the energy was downright weird. It was, like I said, electromagnetic. It's hard to explain. It really is. It was really a double creepy feeling that I will never, ever forget. And, I can speculate that it might have been infrasound. I didn't feel like some people describe as being zapped. I didn't feel that. Slightly nauseated, maybe, but that could have been just fear of the unknown. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, you think it could have been static? I mean, the feeling of static.
Or like this, when the people say when the hair on the back of your neck stands up. Like,
it's like an electrical charge, almost.
Yeah, static.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of what it was. And, I've had that when I was afraid of something, too, so...
Yeah, I get that a lot in my area, too.
But I also feel that humans have instincts and receptors that we don't generally plug into, and, there's probably other things that play, too.
Now, that trail that you experienced all this on, do you still go there, or have you returned?
I am living in Florida now. The initial encounter was in Illinois at an area that was very close, curiously very close, to a residential area, but opened up to a very vast forest that followed the river for quite a ways, and there were no people down there. But I don't know. What was the original question? I'm sorry.
What was the original question?
Oh no, you're fine. No, I was just asking if that was the area you still go to, but you know it makes sense. I mean,
I live in Florida now, and I have not been back to that area at all. I wish I could. I really would like to do more work there, but circumstances have brought me here to Florida, so I'm trying to acclimate here now. So no, my answer is no.
Okay, we have a friend of yours here. His name is Corey.
Corey.
Yeah. Well, what's your last name, Corey?
Valerie. We're Facebook friends, but friends. But if I could ask a question for Durain.
Yeah.
If you have an animal, which it appears to be, that's all about staying hidden as much as possible, why would they purposely interact with people as far as throwing sticks or stones at people? Wouldn't it just be easier just to wander off and not interact with people? Why would they purposely interact with people?
Well, that is a really good question, and I'm not sure I have an answer for that. But it does, I mean, there are so many reports of things like this happening. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, if I was...
I've thought about that from time to time, and you're correct. Why would they want to? And the only thing I can think is... maybe they understand more than we think they do. Maybe they understand more about us. That's the only insight I can come to, and that probably doesn't make much sense. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, because understanding.
I wonder sometimes if they know how we are going to react, or they have they are somehow plugged into how we are going to react. It's a really good question. I really wish I knew.
Because to me, if I was hiding in the woods, trying to stay away from people, the last thing I would do would be to interact with them by throwing sticks, throwing stones, when it would just be so much easier just to wander off, and they would never know that I was there. So that's why...
Exactly, and I agree with you 100%. You're absolutely right. I do not know. The only thing I can think is there is something we're missing, or they don't exist. Those are the two options, I suppose.
Well,
but,
I think if I had...
I, however, can't answer your question satisfactorily because it's hard to say, honestly. Sorry.
We take the stick throwing and rock throwing as territorial, as, you know, this is my area, don't come any closer, and whatnot, which makes very good sense. But at the same time, what Corey says does make sense too. If you could just stay hidden and not let anybody know you were there to start with, that would make sense also.
Yeah,
exactly. And they talked about guerrilla behavior that's like this too.
Yeah, and that's my issue with the whole rock throwing, stick throwing thing. If I was hiding in the woods and I wanted people, you know, I wouldn't be calling attention to myself.
Maybe they're feeling that they are being cornered somehow, or that we're the aggressor somehow. I, however, don't feel that I was an aggressor in my case, and I would think that an intelligent creature would understand that a soft blonde female was not too much of a threat to them. But that being said, I don't know how they think, so I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know how they think.
I think what they were doing was letting you know, like, hey, we're out here hunting, you need to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I had the overwhelming feeling that I needed to leave. And the weird thing was, I was not really afraid. at the time, I didn't feel what I would call fear. I just felt the overwhelming need to go.
Yeah.
Like, it was time for me to get out of here. It's just really hard to explain.
But like I said, again, why would they even acknowledge that they're there by you? Again,
interestingly, I think I got in the middle of something, Corey. I think, and that's the only explanation I can give you. I was in the middle of something, and they were trying to psych me out, for lack of a better term.
I don't
know, really.
I would have to agree with that.
Some of the things that come out of my mouth, I think, sound kind of ridiculous when we really don't know anything for sure. But all I know is what I experienced, and I think that's the same with a lot of other people. You know, well, it defies common sense, but this is what actually happened to me. So, I mean, a lot of people are in the same boat that way. So that's what we deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, like, what you were saying, that you got in the middle of something, and they were definitely trying to scare you off. You were getting too close to perhaps maybe more than one of them, or you were just getting close, period. So, yeah, they were more or less trying to intimidate you or frighten you, like, maybe they still had unfinished business in the area and they didn't want to, That's kind of how I feel, and but maybe they didn't want, the throwing. I think if they wanted to hit you, they probably could have.
I think that too. I think they could have hit me really good if they wanted to, but I think they were just trying to scare me away.
Well, it's like Derek Randall's when he first found out about Sasquatch. They went camping, and a rock come flying by and it landed at a certain spot.
Right.
About a minute later, another rock come out and landed right next to it.
Right.
So yeah, they are good at precision.
And they're trying to make sure you get the message.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice.
Yeah, I've had it quite a few times myself.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I'd love to have a real answer, but I can theorize all day.
Yeah, but like I said, again with that, would you do that? Somebody's in my area. I want these people out of here, but I'm all about staying hidden. I know. I'll throw rocks at you.
I might do that if I was absolutely positive that they could not see me or where it was coming from. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance.
If they were there, if they were actually there, I could not see anything, because I sure looked. And I had my camera with me, and for some reason, I was in a little shock and had no inclination to take a picture of anything. So, I mean, it's funny how that works, but...
Serious ways, my dear. Serious ways.
I mean, I can recall I've had one rock thrown at me. It was a small rock, but it didn't hit me. It landed right by my foot. And plus, when I turned around in the direction it came from, or where I thought it came from, and behind me, it was where I go, and this is the area I go in quite often. I mean, the vegetation, the forestry area, it was so thick and heavy in there. I mean, if there was something there, it was not seen. It was definitely well hidden. But then again, you don't know how far away they were either, whatever through, so.
I would ask, with all these thrown objects, have any of these thrown objects ever been tested for fingerprints or DNA?
No. I believe something, I believe they may have.
I've heard people say you can't get prints off rocks, and then I've heard people say yes, you can.
Sure you can. Yeah, sure you can. But
I don't know.
When you have this thrown object thing going on, nobody ever seems to have it tested for these sort of things.
Yeah.
Bigfoot threw a rock at me. Did you have it tested for DNA or fingerprints?
Galvanize it, walk back, turn it inside out, pick it up so you're not touching it.
The only way that I know you can get a sure print is like with me, I use peanut butter, and someone give me a hint one day, before you go into the woods with that jar of peanut butter, wash it wipe that lid down with alcohol to get all the human fingerprints off of it. Use latex gloves, put the lid back on, because humans have grease or naturally greasy. That's what keeps our skin kind of soft, and it leaves fingerprints, like on a table or something like that, like a glass or something like that. So that would be one sure way to get prints and everything.
But if there are prints on top of yours, then it would be
No, you missed my point. You missed my point.
No, what I'm saying is if you didn't go down and clean it first.
No, you got to clean the lid first. If you want fingerprints, clean the lid with alcohol and a cotton swab. Then put the lid
that way it would be contaminated. What I would agree. Yeah.
Well, it's just my thought is that people put out what do they call it, gifting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put food out. I'm gonna put jars of peanut butter. I'm gonna put out bacon, all this other stuff. And the one thing they don't do is put cameras on it. I put on a jar of peanut butter. Oh my God! I went back a week later and a Bigfoot ate it. Did you put a camera on it? No. So I don't know what Bigfoot is. It could be any.
Corey, that goes back to the thing about can the Bigfoot tell the camera buzz and avoid it.
They know what a camera is.
A raccoon doesn't care about a camera buzzing, but a Bigfoot might have enough knowledge to recognize it and not go in front of it.
All right, a few years
We've
ago.
had this whole conversation before.
A few years ago, Scott Carpenter put a camera 9 feet in a tree, and where he had it at, whatever showed up. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, Miss Fisher. One where Scott Carpenter got the one licking the game camera.
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that. You might have to refresh my memory a little bit.
He put the camera up on a friend's property that they said he had squatches on, and he put the camera up in a tree 9 feet, and about a day later, a squatch come by and he had to kind of squat down a little bit, and it's got him licking the camera. You can see his eyes, his nose. You can see his tongue licking the camera.
Right.
Everything, But he did try to take the camera off the tree because he twisted it around the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order for someone to do that, they need a ladder to get up there and do that. But you can see the hair and everything off.
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's kind of just like some hair on the face and the tongue, and it does twist in the video, doesn't it?
Yeah,
a little bit.
When you first see the video, you see it come up and then squat down to lick the camera, because Scott had it in a box, and it had a round lens. It had a hole cut big enough for the eye and everything to show through. And he was trying to, and he was sticking his tongue in there and licking the lens. Everything.
Doreen, I got another question for you.
Okay.
Well, now that you're, well, first of all, how long have you been in Florida?
I've been in Florida about a year now.
Oh, okay. Now,
this month, actually, so.
Now, actually, well, before I actually ask that main question I was going to ask you, where I'm getting at, have you actually gone out on research of your own, or do you actually conduct research as far as exploring or just going out in the field to, look around or observe anything?
In Illinois, I did conduct a little research. I'm not what you call a hardcore researcher like the rest of you guys. I have a lot of respect for what everybody does, but I would not call myself a serious researcher. I do like to check out areas and see what's going on out there.
Right.
And see what's what.
Okay.
And I'm more of a writer and a photographer, but I am very, very curious too. I really like to go into an area and find out if I think it's a viable area for activity. So.
Right. Now, like, I know down in Florida, there's a handful of researchers, you know, in the area. I mean, throughout Florida. I'm sure there's plenty of areas to kind of gather information.
Yeah.
Would you ever actually consider or think about maybe doing something down there, or even gathering or forming a team, or actually getting with a team to go out, maybe see what you might learn?
Daniel, have you ever thought about getting up at any of the Bigfoot groups down there and go out and investigate these skunk apes?
I ain't out to anyone yet. I was kind of feeling it out. I've had a lot of family obligations since I've been down here, but I'm only just now how I need to approach this. I really haven't done much yet. I'm just kind of looking the area over, trying to learn my way around, basically, and what's what. And I'm in the middle of a really good area here in Melbourne, Florida.
Oh, that's a good area.
Yeah,
okay.
So there's a lot of options here for me. I just haven't really investigated them to the fullest. I really need to do that pretty soon. I just haven't. So.
Well, you got the right one for it.
Yes, I do. And there are a lot of people down here I can talk to, too. There are a lot of good people here. So.
Yeah, because the area I lived at down there was, you ever heard of Ocklawaha?
No, but it sounds like a place in Florida.
It's on the other side of Ocala.
Okay.
And Jack, it's on a Seminole reservation.
Oh, okay.
The streets are sand.
Okay.
And that's a good area too to go into.
All right. Well, I'll have to keep all this in mind when I get ready to do this. But yeah, Florida is an interesting place. The terrain here is a lot of jungle. I would call it jungle. Very, very thick woods and also pine forest.
Yeah.
Scrub forest. And either way, it's a good area for something to hide. I mean, the jungle areas especially, anything could hide in there for long periods of time. Never be. It's great.
Any more questions? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Fred. Go ahead.
Well, since we're on this end, if you're breaking up, I'll kind of answer the questions if she can't hear you. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Now I just want to ask Doreen. Now I'm sure she's familiar with a lot of the different things that float around Facebook, social media, in the Bigfoot community. A lot of us, we call ourselves researchers. A lot of us are respected, and then again, you got the more educated individuals who are strictly all science buffs.
Right.
A lot of them can look down on. Hold on, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Someone's got to mute themselves. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback on this here. All right, let's try this again. Now, what I'm getting at is, with a lot of people, sharing their information, a lot of us share our findings. What's your opinion on, why the small guy, I guess you can say the little man, those who don't have the science degrees, I mean, maybe that might be the reason why, where I'm getting at. But why do you feel like a lot of us are not taken seriously in what we do?
I think a lot of people are not taken seriously, mainly because they don't have the degrees to back it up. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that the regular researchers like you guys are really the boots on the ground that do a lot of the work that the others won't do. You're in the woods all the time. You're the ones that are going to see things. You're going to be the ones that are going to be able to collect the evidence.
Right, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize. I mean, we may not have the degree. I mean, I have a high school education. I did graduate, but as far as since I've gotten into the subject, I've actually I don't just go out in the field. I do a lot of research outside of the field. And I think a lot of them don't realize that. A lot of us do that. because we want to learn about affiliated topics, especially primates in general, or the ecology, just the simple basic biology, and especially our known wildlife. And that's something I tell everybody. You got to get familiar with your known wildlife. You got to know what's out there that already exists before you go research and try to discover something that's unclassified that science says does not exist. So,
Yes.
but I think that's where a lot of them don't realize, and and I think that's why some of us do get belittled, or I guess you could say put down is a better term, but
I think that is really unfortunate, and I think that is a big mistake on their part. I think that some of the smartest researchers I know are the less educated that started from scratch and learn everything they can about their area and what lives there, what grows there, what's normal for there and what isn't.
exactly.
I think that you guys really, really deserve a lot of credit, and I think you're going to ultimately be the ones that are you're going to get the money shot.
Yeah. Now, my question is, you have all these people out there who claiming to be experts on Bigfoot.
There are no experts.
Hey, thank you, because like at Time magazine come out with Bigfoot experts talk about this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah,
no, those were not Bigfoot experts. Those were people that got in a magazine. I mean, and I love them all dearly, and I respect them too, but they're the ones that made the magazine.
Yeah, because the only person that I know that comes closest to knowing anything about Bigfoot, as far as the footprints go, is Jeff Milgram. As far as everybody else goes, in my opinion, we don't have one on a slab, so how can people say, this guy, he's a expert at this, that, and the other, or he knows what he's talking about? How can anybody know what they're talking about when we don't have it? Because 9/10 of the information that these college degree people are getting are from people like me and Daniel and small groups that really don't advertise our Bigfoot.
Exactly. You notice whenever they want to know what's going on in an area, they come to you guys.
Exactly.
That's because you guys are the ones that know.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't feel too bad if you think people are belittling you, because you're the go-to guys. So just remember that.
Well, if I could just ask a question of our guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've written a couple of books, I believe, about Bigfoot?
A couple of what?
A couple of books on Bigfoot.
I have not written books on Bigfoot, no. I'm working on one.
Oh, okay.
But I have not written anything yet, no. Okay. I've written many, many articles about Bigfoot.
Okay, because I'm looking at your IMDb, and you're credited with 2 different documentaries about Bigfoot.
Yes, I helped with documentaries with the Crypto Crew, and I was credited for my work there. No books, actually.
Okay. But
movies, documentaries, yes.
And you spent... And how much
in actively researching?
None lately, not seriously, but weekend thing.
All right, so you would consider yourself a Bigfoot recounter?
So you would count yourself a Bigfoot recounter?
Recounter?
I think it's the word, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, just basically retelling stories of what other people have said.
Oh, basically.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
That's how I got started, and that's what I kept doing. And
okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Then I asked the panel earlier. If you, this is 2 questions.
Sure.
Right. First question is, if you was fishing on a riverbank and you happen to see a Sasquatch on the other side of the bank, what would be your first thought?
Or reaction?
My first thought would be, oh my God, there he is.
Okay.
That would be my first thought. I mean.
All right. Now, second question. If you're walking down your trail before you moved and you saw a Sasquatch about 20, 30 yards up in the woods away from you, what would you do? Would you throw your hand up acknowledge him and walk away, or would you try to approach him?
Knowing me, I would probably freeze, honestly. That would be my honest response. I know that when something scares the hell out of me, I freeze for, a few solid seconds. I would respectfully leave, honestly.
Huh.
Well,
Doreen,
I just don't.
I'm glad you said that because I'm the same way. Me, all the ones I see in my area, I acknowledge them and I walk away from them.
Right. I think they need to be left alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Doreen, I got another question from the live chat.
Okay.
Yeah, this question comes from Mike Richburg again.
Hi,
Now, this question is a much this is a much debated question, and I know a lot of people discussed it, and I know we have on quite a few occasions. Do you think the Patterson-Gimlin film or footage, or the Bigfoot, referring to the subject, is a real Bigfoot?
Well, it has been picked over and analyzed and argued about, debated, and everybody has done, National Geographic, everything they can to try and decide if this is real. And I have talked to people who have told me things that made me believe it might not be real, but in seeing it and getting the details about it, I feel that it is probably the best piece of video evidence that we have for the existence of Bigfoot. And I hope it's real.
Now, you do know, in the process of people researching on trying to figure out if it was real or not, in 1968, the head of the costume department in California, who does all the Creature from the Black Lagoon and the Bela Lugosi movies, stuff like that, was asked at that particular time, could they have made an outfit of that Sasquatch? And the first answer was no, they did not have the technology at that particular time to make a costume like that.
And not only that, how could any human, male or female, fit into a costume like that and make it move the way it did?
Exactly.
The muscles flexing, the whole bit. And there's more details to that film also.
Yeah, M.K. Davis said he's the only one I know that cleared it up to make it look like a modern day photograph, Now
the Crypto Crew has also done many, many breakdowns, and there's a lot more footage than what is ever actually shown. She actually looks in the beginning like she's actually taking a dump in the beginning, and then she walks across the river area there, dry riverbed, and there's more to see. You got to watch the entire film to really get a feel for whether you think that it's real or not.
Now the video shows them being about 80 to 90 yards away from her, and Gimlin was asked this question by Paul Halsley. What was the distance from that Squatch? And Gimlin said about 30 yards. And when Patterson said, get ready with your gun and everything, he said that's when the Squatch turned and looked toward him. When Gimlin pulled his gun out, he said that's when Patty turned and looked. So apparently, she must have understood what he said for her to turn and look like that.
It makes you wonder, yeah.
Yeah,
It does make you. And I wonder sometimes, too, now I've often speculated, and I've written articles about it, that there were others in the woods behind her.
Yeah.
Other individuals, and, it's Blob Squatch City back there, so it's really hard to say, but there were some forms, outlines in the woods that looked like there might have been others back there, and I wonder sometimes if they don't use one for a decoy to lead people away from a group, or like young ones or something like that.
I can answer that
Or
question.
if you see them, it's because they want to be seen for some reason. Like they're trying to distract you from something.
Now, I can answer that question because I've had it done to me a couple of times.
Okay.
I would be walking, like in the apple orchard, I'd be walking around the corner, and there was two juvies about 30 feet up in front of me to my right. I go around the corner, and all of a sudden, to my left behind me, 3 loud knocks. All right, I immediately stopped. I started to turn around. I said, no, better turn back around, because if they're doing it for a purpose, and when I turn back around is when I caught 2 juveniles running from my right to my left.
Uh-huh.
So the one behind me tried to distract me and to keep me from looking or continuing on up front with the 2 coming across there. So that, I can answer that question, saying, yeah, they do that.
Very interesting. Yeah.
I'll be right back. Don't keep going ahead.
Okay. But with the Patterson-Gimlin,
the thing is, you have to realize with MK Davis is though.
His hand flipped up on her.
But the thing is, you have to realize with MK Davis is that every week he finds something else in the video. Every week there's 3 Bigfoot in the video. No, there's 5 Bigfoot in the video. Somebody shot her in that video. I mean, MK Davis did a good job stabilizing that video, but that's his whole career in the Bigfoot community is stabilizing the Patterson-Gimlin footage. And I appreciate what he did, but I don't think just because he stabilized it and did a good job with that, I don't think he can see everything else. I think at one point he said there was 5 Bigfoot in the background, and that at one point that there was a massacre, that they actually shot her. So to me, you have to take.
I never heard about that.
You have to look it up online. This is stuff he's posted on YouTube. MK Davis has. See this Bigfoot? There's another Bigfoot. Here's another Bigfoot. Here's another Bigfoot.
I've seen that. I've seen that part, but I have not seen the massacre part.
Yeah, check it out on YouTube. MK Davis has got himself a lot of popularity, as a lot of people try to do in the small Bigfoot community that it is, by finding all these things. And like every month, there's something else in the Patterson-Gimlin footage, according to MK Davis. So to me, you have to disregard most of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
What was the last part, Corey?
I was just saying that just go on YouTube, search MK Davis Patterson-Gimlin footage, and you'll see basically every month he comes out with another theory. That there's 5 Bigfoot in the background, that there was a massacre, that what you're seeing in the video, she's taking a bullet shot in that video.
He's basically saying that every month MK Davis pops up with new film about Bigfoot, or as a massacre, a bullet shot, or something like that.
Yeah, and I really don't know. I've heard about that. I really don't know anything about that. I usually wait for something to, well, what do I want to say? I usually wait for something to circulate a little more and see if it holds its ground with everyone. And I have not heard too many details on any of that. I respect MK and his work and what he does. He's very good at it, but I really don't know about any of that at all.
Well, this brings up my question that we started the show with. What do you think the effect of mass media, television shows, documentaries, radio shows, what do you think the effect is on the whole Bigfoot research community, for good or for bad?
I think it's good and bad. I think that it has done a lot for making more people curious about it, more people believe than ever did before. I know that in my personal experience, kids just flock to you if you do Bigfoot stuff. They just love that kind of stuff, and they really, really drink that up. I think it's done a lot in that way. We're going to have a future of a lot more believers, I think, and a lot more good researchers, just because the kids have so much curiosity about it.
Yeah,
but as far as the actual research, I think it does it kind of a disservice because it makes the public think we're somewhat of a joke in some respects. The way they do research on TV is nothing like what the real researchers do. You know, guys running around in the woods with guns trying to kill one. Finding Bigfoot, I love those guys, I really do, but the research that they do it's somewhat what everyone else is actually doing, but it doesn't really illustrate what's actually going on. You know, it's a lot for entertainment value, and I'm not sure that's the best thing for the actual research and really finding the truth. I'm just not sure.
That's kind of my question. Is it harmful? Because I've had discussions with people when they find out I'm into the whole Bigfoot thing, and one of their first comments is, "Oh, like finding Bigfoot?" And then I have to.
How do you answer a question like that? It's like, no, it's not like that at all. I wish I could explain it better.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all, and it's hard to convince people that you need to be taken seriously after they've seen stuff like that. So, you know, I love Bigfoot shows, but I don't think they're the best thing for the real research and what's really going on.
So you think it's probably harmful then for legitimate Bigfoot research then? Finding Bigfoot, all of that sort of thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that, Corey.
Say that again, Corey.
So you think it's harmful, stuff like finding Bigfoot is to the Bigfoot research community?
In other words, do you
think it's not helpful in many ways. I think it brings people to the subject. It makes people more open to it. But as far as being taken seriously, I don't think it helps people take us seriously at all, actually. So that's pretty much my answer.
So you think it's more for entertainment too?
Yeah, it is. And I think that a show that really covered Bigfoot research the way it actually is boring a lot of the time. So they wouldn't have a show if they did that. So they have to make it entertaining. It's just like anything else. It's a business. They're in the entertainment business, and God love them. I think it's great in that respect, but, you know, we want to be taken seriously, too. So, you know, it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, it always is.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Doreen, I know you've probably seen a lot of different footage floating around the Bigfoot community.
Oh, yeah.
But have you seen any that you feel that might be convincing to you?
Convincing to me? Well, let's see. I think the Pennsylvania white Bigfoot was quite convincing, although people disagreed with me on that one.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
You talking about the one where it shows the face at nighttime?
Yes.
That is pretty daggone convincing.
That thing scares me to death, and the face is moving. It's not a mask. That face is moving. So, that one I think is interesting. Also, I'm trying to think here. We have them on our website. The Paul Freeman footage, very good footage, I think. Very interesting. Of course, a lot of people would disagree with me on that. And the Hoffman video, I think probably is one of the best. I would put that above the rest. And they are on our website, thecryptocrew.com. We put the 10 best that people voted for, but those stick out in my mind the most. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about in the Hoffman footage.
Yeah, the Hoffman footage. That was the guy that has the site. What's it called? FindingSantaClaus.com. that same guy?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, he has a video production company, and he has videos at FindingSantaClaus.com. So
I'll take a look at it sometime and see what you think. It's one of our favorites. Yeah, he said something about Santa Claus.
Yeah, he has a website.
Santa Claus actually exists or something like that. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, he's another money-making fella.
Yeah, well,
it's unfortunate that so many people that get involved in this, and it's all about how much money can I make, and I get some clicks on my website.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know, but those are the ones that stick out in my mind. Definitely, Pennsylvania white Bigfoot, really, really scary. You can see that face moving when that flashlight shines on it, and
you notice how the eyes are shaped?
Yes, kind of like triangles.
Because the eyes on that one that I saw in '81, even though it was daytime, they were still kind of shaped like that. And everything. But I've never seen any white in their eyes. I've only seen what they call, in daytime, it'd be like chocolate brown.
Right.
And at nighttime, you got the yellowish green color or the red color that I've seen.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting to me. And, you know, like I say, a lot of people disagree with me, but nobody can really agree on any of the footage, so.
Yeah, no matter what the subject or topic, yeah, you're always going to get disagreement. I mean, I know I get a lot of people disagree with me, but
I'm sorry, and that is not what I want personally. But until we have a body on a table, or a live one for that matter, which I don't really think is ever going to happen, nobody is really going to agree on anything.
Well, that actually kind of brings up another question that we spoke about or brought up here in the past. Now, what's your opinion, or what do you think about this idea as far as what if somebody was to tranquilize one if they knew how to estimate the right dosage for such a large animal, and perhaps video themselves, maybe collecting evidence while the subject was sleeping? If that was possible, what do you think? Would you think that would work, or even a good idea, or not at all?
As long as it was on video, I don't think everybody would buy it, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a short film to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a really good idea for something to try, but I think that you're just going to have a body, and that's all there is to it. Whether it's living or dead, unfortunately, that is what it's going to take to really convince the scientific community that we have something real.
Yeah. So. I mean, I know a lot of people, like even if you were to collect DNA, because a lot of samples were collected, and the big study that's been going on for years where, no results actually really came through. Well, the thing is, with samples, I was actually, I'm getting this idea from one of our last guests that we had on here, Dr. Haskell Hart. Yeah, he even brought up, unless with people finding ways to do DNA traps and collecting DNA, unless you have a picture of what's leaving the DNA or the sample, the hair or whatever it might be, then it's that makes it. Unless you do, it makes it that much more harder, to really pinpoint or actually, to do the study. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
So, it's going to take a lot. I mean,
right.
We have plenty of evidence, per se, but he's right. We have to have a good combination of the right evidence. That would be very helpful.
Right.
All right, I got a question for you. When Scott Carpenter, up to about a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, in his as he called it, gifting area, he would take and put fruit up high by like 9 or 10 feet, but he would take packing tape and put it on the tree backwards, with the sticky side out.
Okay, right.
And when the squash goes up to grab the apple, it would leave hair.
Okay.
On the tape. What's your theory? What's your thought on that? As far as the DNA part.
Well, the funny thing about hair is that if it's, oh boy, let me think about this.
Go on now.
A lot of times when we get these DNA results back, they come back human.
Right.
And that thing makes everybody think, well, we're just mistaking it. Okay, maybe we are. But if we have a human hair that has never been cut, you can always tell under a microscope a hair that's been cut versus a hair that has never been cut. Okay, if you have a human hair that's never been cut, you either have a wild human out there or something else.
Well, I've had one of my samples come back human contaminated.
Yes.
And when I gathered it, I used latex gloves, and I used tweezers, and I used around a paper bag.
Uh-huh.
Everything.
And it's a real curiosity how this always happens.
Yeah.
Human contaminator. We have things come back as unknown primate. Or what the heck is going on with DNA anyway? I'd really like to know. But it's, I don't know. What are you asking me about Scott Carpenter?
Far as
the hair.
As far as the, do you think he could actually contain samples of DNA by doing what he was doing?
Well, I think that he would have to not contaminate the tape, for one thing.
Okay.
That might be hard
to
pull off.
Yeah, because placing, if you're...
Do it.
Yeah. Anything to set up a DNA trap, it's got to be sanitized to begin with.
The evidence doesn't seem to really get the job done. So, I mean, the only thing I can say is I can sit here and be quiet and think for a minute. Because I'm having trouble getting my thoughts together on this.
Don't feel bad. We all do.
Well, anything, we know now that we can discover an undiscovered creature just with DNA now. We do know that. But still, we still need to have a body or a combination of things in order to prove to the scientific community that in the scientific community is really difficult. Yeah. But you can understand why. The big deal. If Bigfoot is real, this is a huge deal. It changes the dynamics of just about everything. It changes the dynamics of campers and state parks, national parks. It's a big deal. Science has to be really careful with this, and I think that they're not going to accept this all so easily. And they have kind of proven that, however. But acquiring DNA is very helpful. However, we have to take great care with it. And, I don't know. I can speculate about whether or not a guy can catch DNA from hair in that way. but I just don't know. I think DNA research is still kind of imperfect in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard to say if that would really help. Only time will tell. I mean, we've got the DNA evidence in, and if it's handled the way it should be, you know, it should be good to go. It should be tangible. But right now, it's just, we don't have enough, unfortunately.
No.
So, am I making any sense?
You're getting around to it.
And just realize that Scott Carpenter was involved with Melba Ketchum.
Yeah, very much so.
And if you go to YouTube and search Scott Carpenter Bigfoot, apparently he sees a Bigfoot every third day, but yet still has no good pictures, no good video, or anything definitive.
Yeah,
You have to kind of be circumspect with anything that he says, because he's a Bigfoot fan who sees one, like I said, every third day of his life. So, if they were
I can't really say what he's seen and what he hasn't. If he has, he's the luckiest guy in the world. And I often wonder a lot, and this is not to put down any research or the way people do research. I often wonder sometimes if, for some reason, there just isn't a really good way to get a Bigfoot on video. If the camouflage they have, if there's some special skill that they do have that keeps them, and I don't want to use the word invisible, but, you know, that's kind of a controversial thing there too, but there's just something about them. I mean, every time somebody gets footage, it's very rare that they get anything clear. So the argument continues on and on and on. You have to wonder if, you know, there's jokes about whether or not Bigfoot is just blurry. I mean, just naturally blurry. And, you know, I wonder sometimes if that isn't a really good question to ask. You know, what is up with that? I've speculated on what the camouflage is, if it's a special, advanced kind of camouflage, something that we have not even discovered in any other animal ever. I mean, there's a lot of things to think about, possible explanations. I've explored all of them. Of course, we don't know. But I often wonder if there are a few things that are a little bit special about them, and I don't mean magical or anything like that, just special as far as how they are able to stay hidden.
Well, if they're intelligent and they're taught since birth how to hide, and they are creatures in the forest who all have hair and colors and tones that blend in, and they are intelligent enough and taught. I know Fred talks about the juveniles being a little more reckless and being easier to catch a sight of or whatever. But once they're grown, they are professional at not being seen. And
I think they are, I really honestly think that they're smarter than we are. Maybe a lot smarter than we are, and a lot of people will fight me on that one. But, you know, we can talk about how smart we are and how much technology we have and everything, but is that really smart on our part? Or is it smarter to live the way they do? I don't know.
The thing is when it comes to how smart they are,
they could be smart in a different aspect.
Right, exactly. There are different kinds of intelligence, and theirs is more advantageous in their world, whereas ours doesn't work in their world.
But the thing is when it comes to being smart, when you have people like Scott Carpenter, who says that they've had all these multiple experiences with Bigfoot, and if you go look on his YouTube page, that's the best he had. If you run into something every third day of the week of a Bigfoot, and that's the best pictures that you have.
Yeah.
See how I'm kind of circumspect? Because it's like, I see them all the time. Can you get me a good picture? Yeah, here's a great picture. And you look at it, you're like...
All about that, and they have said that they don't
That's why
they feel the need to leave them alone. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not about leaving them alone.
It's not a good situation to be. If they're that close, I would like to see a little bit better evidence. However, I have had them tell me, too, that it's a matter of trust things with them, pulling out a phone or a camera or violating them in some way like that. And, you know,
the thing is with the trust thing is
what people's reasons are for what.
I've heard people say that say
have better.
I've heard people say
from people that are that close.
It's a trust thing.
I can't really judge their reasons, you know, for not.
But people will say it's a trust thing. I can't get a really good picture of them because it's a trust thing. But yet they'll post all these different pictures of really bad pictures. So it's a trust thing if they get a really good picture, but it's not a trust thing if they get a bad picture.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's like, well, if I took a really good picture, then they wouldn't trust me anymore. So you take a picture and you show that to the Bigfoot and go, is this one okay to post? Yes, that's fine. You're not violating my trust that way. When people say that,
I think that they would be constantly in fear. If they built this trust over time, it would be a very, very fragile thing. Yeah. And I think that would be a lot of the reason why they would not be willing to take too many big chances. But like I said, it's hard for me to judge because I really am not in that position. I've never been that close to them.
Yeah, I talked to I got a Cherokee lady friend of mine. She's a spiritualist out west.
Okay.
And I asked her about photographs, you know, like taking pictures of a Sasquatch. And she said one reason that you cannot get one is because they think if you take a picture of them, you stole their soul.
Right.
So that's why
think that way back too.
That's why you don't find them on game cameras or regular camera. I mean, if someone come up with a perfect face shot of the exact Squatch, you know, what he looks like in real life on a photograph, people would say that's a hoax.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's really no...
That's the thing, you know, if you get a clear picture, nobody believes it's real.
Exactly.
So what the heck are you supposed to do? I mean, it goes back to the whole idea that a picture just is not going to get it. Video is just not going to do it. Still going to have a body, I'm afraid.
Right.
I say that every week when we have these shows. If it's a clear, wonderful picture, it's a hoax. If it's a blur, then it's a blotch, or you know, it's a blurry blob. So.
Well, it's too subjective. You know, it's a picture that not everybody can agree on. So.
Exactly.
You know, I really don't know what the answer to all that is. The only answer that I know of is to bring in a body, dead or alive, and that's just very unfortunate to me, but that's what it's going to take.
I think that's very unfortunate too, and I also think that the government would not let that happen.
I think you're right about that, especially since it, like I said, it would change everything. It would change the dynamics of humanity in so many ways that we can't even realize right now. There are so many people that would be afraid You'd have people out in the woods shooting at them, or shooting at, blob squatches. It just would cause a lot of disturbance in their habitat, when I just really think they need to be left alone.
Yes, it would have wild ass people out looking, shooting, trying to kill one. It would also, with the log industry in the Northwest and any other industry anywhere else,
right,
you'd have to have habitat, and the government is not prepared for the response from the public or the response in the way of the business-wise.
Well, my question is that if we had a really good picture of Bigfoot, that would make people be out in the woods trying to shoot and kill one more so than the information that's out there now?
You think?
I don't. If we had a really good picture of Bigfoot, everybody would be out there hunting, trying to kill one. Well, there's enough stories now and enough of these ridiculous pictures and videos that are out there now. If that was going to happen, it would be happening by now. So,
you think that the government, the powers that be, I should say, like to keep us being ridiculed? I think they like to keep a level of ridiculousness in this, because I think that they don't know what to do about it. I think that they might know that they're real, and they just don't know what to do about it. They know that people will react in certain ways, not very good ways, and I think that they believe it would be bad in so many ways for them to actually be proven real.
Yeah. Did you know in 1968, the Army Corps of Engineers acknowledged Sasquatch as being a native species of North America?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very interesting, huh?
Yeah, kind of. And they redid, and they rewrote it or recopied it in 1986.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
So yeah, it's very interesting. They this to the government, but yet they don't.
Yeah. So are you gonna
Yeah.
You working on other stories right now, or in the process of doing a thing do something else right now?
Blog.
I'm doing me.
Yeah.
Talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing a podcast right now.
Well, I know that.
Yes. No, I mean I'm doing a podcast of my own for the Crypto Crew.
Oh, okay.
It's called Around the Campfire, and it's about philosophies about paranormal subjects, not just Bigfoot, but a lot of it applies to Bigfoot. And it's just my thought on how things could actually happen the way some people say they do. I just explore things that people tell me, sometimes some really weird things that people tell me, and I try to explore why or how that could possibly be, if there's any way that that could possibly happen, and what I might think about it. And
would you, if you heard, let's say you heard a story, say about like a family who got their trailer pushed or something like that, would you be willing to go out and investigate that? As far as far as what you do?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to look into that kind of stuff, and I'd love to follow anybody around and have them show me what they do, because it's really interesting to me. So I wouldn't be involved in this
next weekend
if I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, next weekend, that's kind of like what me and Fred are doing next weekend.
Yeah.
Well, the area we're going to be camping in, it's got some history behind it in the area. Well, just last year alone, there were some very large fresh tracks and fresh snow. Probably around about 5 or 6 feet stride. And on top of that, there was two sets of campers. Now, one happened just this past year, and the other one is probably it's probably been about 2, maybe 3 years ago. Two different sets of campers that were camping in their small camper RVs that were in this somewhat secluded area. I mean, it's a public area, but it's it's also secluded, and they both experienced something hitting or pushing their campers. And now, from the story I gathered, each individual, they were armed, and it happened probably. The one gentleman I know happened around 2 o'clock in the morning, and he ran outside his camper with his pistol in his hand, and did not see nothing, did not hear nothing. And he looked around the best he could. Keep in mind it was dark, and so he went back inside, and he went back inside, and he not even a minute later, it happened again. So I mean, the thing is, could have been somebody doing that, but I think it would have been somebody fairly large and strong to actually jolt the camper.
Yeah.
But that area there, I've heard other stories too. But these are ones I've gathered personally. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very curious and anxious. I mean, I've done some serious hiking in this area, so hopefully maybe we'll come up with something. I mean, I'll have my night vision gear to record any possible things that could come around. I'll have my audio, so I mean, hopefully it might be something worth sharing. Every time I come across something, I try to share it, regardless.
Right.
What it might be, if it's potential evidence or not. I mean, I like to share things for people to speculate and observe, and so.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
About that.
Did you say next weekend?
Yeah, next coming weekend, the weekend of the 25th. Yeah.
Where? Where?
This is an area where I've been investigating. A friend of mine from work who is actually covering this area. Since he's told me about this area here, it's about an hour from here where I live now.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah. Also, the 20. Yeah, this ain't gonna be around Fred's camp. This is a different area because I got Greg Corbin coming up from Virginia Beach. So yeah, it'll be me, Fred, Greg, and his son. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
it's me and Bill just waiting to get May, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, because we're going out Friday morning or early Friday morning. Head up there, and because. By the way, Friday's my birthday. I'll be 36. Woohoo! Yeah, so, but I'm still a baby according to everybody here on the panel.
Yeah, you are.
So.
Since I'm the oldest one here.
Are you sure?
I'm 56.
Okay, well, you are the oldest one here.
Okay, I'll rub it in. Hey, Dorian, I'm gonna send you a photograph to your messenger, okay?
Okay.
All right, you good?
All right, hey. What's that, Layla? You were saying something? Oh, she
I
muted.
said I'll be 50 in a couple of weeks.
Oh, you said 50 or 15?
50.
50, okay. Almost sounded like you said 15.
No, first week. Well, we were just talking about age. First week of April. So I think I'll be eligible for the insurance that Alan Thicke or whoever it is advertises on TV. Anyway, okay, y'all go ahead. I'll review myself.
Okay, I want to I know, Glenn, you've been quiet. Do you have any questions for Durain?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how long has she been researching Bigfoot?
I have been involved with research since 2011, off and on.
Oh,
So not very long.
I see. Well, yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty good.
I've been involved with some really, really good researchers on my team, and I've learned a lot that way. So I'm really fortunate that way. I have learned a lot from them. Those guys are really good at what they do, as these guys here are really good at what they do. I really respect you guys. You really, really do the work, the actual hands in the dirt work. And that's a really, really important part of it. So.
Yeah, I see. Well, I'm pretty new at it too.
Yeah, well, just pay attention to the guys and what they tell you and everything. You can really learn a lot from the others. And pay attention to what others are doing, like on Facebook and things like that, in the groups and things like that. They give little clues as to how they do things, and you can really learn a lot that way. Just pay attention to what everybody's doing and listen to what they're saying, and you'll learn a lot.
I see, yeah.
Yeah, like, I know, like, what Fred, you know, and I both, you know, we try to tell people.
Is if you have a picture of something, and you're not sure if people are going to buy into it, go back the next day at the same time of day, and take a picture of the exact same spot, and make sure, you know, you have all the details in both photos. Just do the work. There's a lot of work involved in it, and that's why I respect these guys so much. It's very tedious sometimes, and like I say, boring often at times.
No.
And that they wouldn't want to make a real TV show about what they're really doing out there. So,
I see. Well, thank you for the advice.
Thank you.
I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
I was going to, if Rain doesn't know, why doesn't Glenn tell her about Cheryl's sighting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Glenn, if you want to share that with Doreen, I know, Glenn's going to share just real brief about his wife. His wife's usually on the panel, but she's not here tonight because she's got to go to work early in the morning. So, but yeah, just within, what was it for Glenn? About almost 3 months ago.
Yeah, about 3:30 in the morning. She's headed to work, and I'm about 4 miles from here. She turned on a back road, headed to work, and something big and hairy run across the road in front of her, about 2 steps to get across the road. And she said she almost hit it, but it had been about 8 foot tall if it stood up, but it was kind of leaned over, running across the road.
And what was her reaction to that? I mean, from being around you and everything, what was her reaction to it when she saw that?
Oh, she come home and told me about it, and I said, geez, it don't sound like a bear to me. That sounds more like a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
That's what gets me. Okay, we're all out in the woods enough to know the difference between a damn bear and something else. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look like a bear. I mean, that's almost ridiculous to me. We've all seen bears. We know what bears look like. And most of the time, they're on 4 feet.
Yeah, and you know the other biggest animal. Yeah, the only other biggest animal they have up there where they are, they live up in Maine, and the only other biggest animal they have up there that's, you know, is a moose. And I'm sure if it was a moose, she would have been able to identify the moose.
Yeah, exactly. Plus,
the moose is a moose. I mean, it's really hard to mistake that.
Bears were hibernating then too.
Right, exactly. And probably she had an encounter. Not much doubt in my mind. I mean, was she pretty scared about it?
Oh yeah, she's worked up when she come home. Told me about it.
Yeah.
She thought at first it was a bear, but after she told me, I said, "Oh, don't sound like a bear to me."
Yeah, your first thought is, you know, you're trying to reason it out to something familiar, and it's just not. I mean, you saw something and just don't know what it was, and you have to kind of come to the conclusion that you might have seen something that's not supposed to exist. So it's interesting, the brain process and everything, how that works. So
From what
that's
little
cool.
I told her, is on news and stuff. She's a smart woman. She's fitted. She's smart. You know, she knows what she saw.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing too, you know, credibility. You know, when a person's telling the story, how are they reacting? What kind of a person are they normally and everything? And, you know, it's a lot of people come to me telling me about these things, and they're, you know, they think they're crazy.
Yeah. Someone's...
Let me. Oh, you don't have post-traumatic stress for no reason. Something scared them to death. And, you know, that's something to take into account, too. So.
Yeah. Oh, I just lost my train of thought.
I know I've been going off on little tangents here. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I had a thought pop up in my head that I was thinking about earlier, and it jumped out. But, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go across the panel and check with everybody, starting with Corey, and if they have any last statements or anything they want to ask before we actually go off air. How about it, Corey?
Unmute yourself, Corey.
Yeah, you muted, Corey.
Just go up to the top in the center and hit that red box with the microphone.
Okay, there I am.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. I would ask, what percentage of sighting reports that come from Bigfooters do you think are bogus?
Oh, boy. Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Wow. Percentage-wise, I don't know. You know, I would really have to guess that maybe 25% or maybe mistaken identity. I don't really think a huge percentage is people actually hoaxing on purpose, but that's just me. I mean, you subject yourself to a lot of ridicule by telling these stories to a lot of people. That's a good question.
Yeah, my thing is like nobody else has more Bigfoot sightings than Bigfooters. Doesn't that seem odd? The small amount of Bigfooters
odd,
that we have.
we're the ones out there where they live. We're in their home. So that doesn't seem odd to me at all. You have to go outside to have an encounter. You have to go out into the woods to see them. So, no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and then, then you got people that, like hikers or once in a while an occasional hunter that might have, so.
Well, it's just, it
doesn't I mean, they're usually, people that see them are, hikers, campers, hunters, most generally, or somebody that has a backyard that opens up into a patch of woods or something.
Yeah.
Or they're driving down the road late at night. Something
like Cheryl was.
It doesn't happen in suburbia.
No, it seems to me that I've noticed over the years that nobody has more regular sightings, like I see a Bigfoot every third day, more than Bigfooters. Doesn't that seem odd? I mean, a lot of regular people that just see one time crossing the road, and that's one thing. But it seems like when you have Bigfooters that see them all the time, where the regular public doesn't see them all the time, doesn't that seem kind of...
Well,
yeah, I see.
You have to go out there to see them. However, I don't know for sure, and I don't like to judge, but don't know for sure if people who make these claims are actually seeing what they think they are seeing. Yeah, it's really without criticizing people directly, without attacking people directly. I always say that I just will not judge because I don't know. These people may have an inside track. I just wish I knew the secret, and all I can say is Finding Bigfoot needs to dedicate an episode to one of these people and go out there and find out what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to follow them out to their area and see what they're seeing. We need somebody else to confirm it. That would be helpful.
I have a comment, if I may.
Oh.
Go ahead, Leah.
Okay. Okay, this is my thoughts. To Doreen, I agree with what you're saying. I don't want to say anybody is lying, because you weren't there. We weren't there. But as per Corey's question, there are people who have Squatches in their area and go out and have activity with them on a regular basis, okay, like Fred. But then you have people who just go out. Fred goes to a certain area. He knows they're there. He's been doing it 30 years. But then you have people who just hike around here, hike around there, go out camping. We had a saying, I've always been interested in Bigfoot my entire life. And we had me and my husband used to have a saying, people who go out looking for Bigfoot never see him, and it's the campers, the hikers who don't give a flip about Bigfoot, minding their own business and walk straight into him.
Right.
And that is true to a certain extent. So I decided, if I look for Bigfoot everywhere I go, I will never run into him.
Yeah.
Because it'll scare me, but not that I would love to see one. So you've got both ends of the realm there. Some people know they're in their area and associate to a small extent with them, like Fred. But then you've got people who go out camping and hiking and don't give a flip about it, don't think a thing about it, and there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the ones,
Corey, it goes both ways.
But my thing is the ones who say they have regular interactions with people and see them all the time will take a picture, and they're not good pictures. You'd think after all that time you would get one good picture. I don't know. People say, well,
I agree with you. I knew the answer, honestly. But I'm not going to say that they absolutely don't exist because I have those questions in my mind either. So, but I have the exact same questions you do. I wish I knew. I wish I could answer that.
But do you think that a good percentage of people are just making stuff up?
Well, I think that some people do want attention. Absolutely. I think that they get in here and they find it's a good way to get attention. I think that is true, yes. I think that some people are making it up, most definitely. I've run into people like that. But the people that I'm talking about that I don't believe are making it up are the ones who are emotionally affected by what happened to them. That is the big difference. That's what I'm looking for, is real emotion. Like, are they affected by what they saw? I mean, I watch these videos of some guy who's filming a Bigfoot and supposedly filming a Bigfoot, and his respiration doesn't change. He seems calm as he's filming this, and, holding the camera fairly still and everything. And I'm like, if I saw a Bigfoot and I was trying to film it, I would not be able to hold the camera still, and I would be out of breath from being absolutely scared to death. So.
Well, it was like me in '81. I had that one come out 5 feet in front of me, and physically, that was burned into my head.
It messes with you, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Lord have mercy, doesn't it?
The people who have, people who've had real encounters, there is a big difference between people who've really seen them and people who haven't. Sometimes it's harder to find that difference, but there's definitely a few ways to tell, at least, that they need to be put in a hoaxer category, at least.
Yeah, I got can't think of his name. He's in I think he might be in the Crypto Crew. I'm not really sure, but one of the Bigfoot groups. He told me to describe the face of the Squatch that I seen.
Right.
And he's going to take and draw it up and computerize it.
Oh, okay, good.
So I'm waiting on that right now.
So forensic artist.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. That'd be great.
If I could draw, I could draw a picture of it, but I'm not an artist,
Right, and for a person to try and do that, so that'd be great. I would love to see that.
Now here's the expression that I got when I looked at Dead in the eyes. It was like, okay, it's a human. He looked me up and down, I looked him up and down, and he just turned and walked away.
Uh-huh.
It was like,
is that a lot?
It was like, yeah, it's a human, big deal. That's what I got, But I couldn't move my feet. That's what wouldn't move.
Yeah. And
I turned my head and said, this is going to hurt. Turned back around, he was walking off.
Yeah.
But see, this is why I can't believe a lot of personal experiences, because I could come up with a personal experience that would sound absolutely real that I just made up. So that's why I have a hard time believing people that he looked at me and this is the expression on his face. Anybody could make that up. Most people could make up something that sounds reasonably convincing. That's why I don't think you can go by people's personal experiences. I want to see a picture. I want to see a video. Here, I have a picture, and they show you the picture, and it's some indiscriminate brown blob in the woods. That's not enough. If you don't have something definitive, show nothing at all.
Well, the main thing is, you got a lot of people who's after hoaxing and everything, and people hoax stories, man, but when you're affected, only thing y'all are hearing is the story, but what's behind it is the actual reality of it,
Well, we have little secret things that we look for in people when we're trying to assess them as a credible witness. So, and all Bigfooters, researchers have their own personal way of digging through the hoaxers and things like that. So, I can't give all that stuff away, but there are ways that we kind of tell if we can at least tell if they're credible enough character. But nothing's foolproof in this. Nothing at all. We're still screwing up all the time. So, but try to learn from it and move on.
That's the best way. Anything else, Daniel?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think we had a heck of a show. I think we had a great discussion. Doreen Fisher, I want to thank you for agreeing to come on tonight. And
you're welcome.
I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Yeah. It would have been great to have you on as as a live attendee, but I never done this Fred's done this before through the phone. If I was to do it through my cell phone, I don't think it would have worked as good. So.
Yeah, I've done this with.
Yeah. But I want to thank you very much again one more time. If you, after we go off of air, just hang tight for a second. And meanwhile, I hope our viewers enjoyed the show. Definitely stay tuned Tune in tomorrow night, Saturday at 8 p.m. Well, excuse me, actually, I think I was scheduled for 7 p.m. So be on the lookout for that there. And if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel ECBR 98. And everyone, thank you very much.